Seriously, the second I turn on the camera. God give me strength. Please, God. I'm going to lose my fucking shit with this lawnmower. If you follow me on Snapchat, you'll know that there is a newborn baby living directly underneath my apartment and it's driving me insane. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. You may notice that everything looks a little bit different. I have changed around my filming room completely. I've moved the bed from over here to over here. I am now using my studio lights, which I think is much more flattering and shows things as a much truer version of themselves. So if you like this setup, please let me know in the comment section down below. I'd be grateful of any feedback you could give me. This video has been highly requested for the last year, and that is what makeup tools and brushes I would recommend to someone who is starting out with makeup or just wants to expand their collection. So the way I'm going to treat this video is if my entire makeup brush and tool collection were completely wiped out, stolen from me, let's say, and I had to go back out and start my collection from scratch again, what would be the first ones I would buy to get me going again with my makeup brush collection? First of all, I'm going to show you my brush collection. I have way too many brushes. I don't even use probably half of these. I keep mine in this thing called a tool turnabout. It's actually for chef tools and it spins around like that, so I can have it perched on my table and just spin it and go, okay, yeah, I need that brush, or I need that brush, or whatever. And it's so handy. I'm reluctant to show this though because it's so hard to find. I managed to get mine on eBay for about €30 5 or 6 years ago, but I believe they're really hard to find now, and if you do find them, they're quite expensive. But I find it amazing. Just, it's so practical because it fits all my brushes perfectly. It has lots of different compartments, as you can see here. And I'm an organisation freak, so I have all my blending brushes in one compartment and then my eyeliner brushes in another. But yeah, so I'm going to start with the order in which you apply things to your face. My first pick for foundation brushes is a flat top kabuki, and they just look like this. A lot of brands make these. You can get this from Sigma, you can get one from Blank Canvas Cosmetics, but this one in particular is from eBay. And if you just search Jessup brushes, you'll be able to find brush sets that contain this and 3 other brushes. They're very cheap. You can get a set for like €6 or €7 as far as I'm aware. They're not the most amazingly made. Like the ferrule on this is a little loose. I could probably do with re-gluing it. But I mean, for a starter, they're definitely really good. They just won't last you a hell of a long time. But if you are stuck for cash, I would recommend getting this off eBay. But otherwise, go with Sigma or Blank Canvas because theirs is much better quality. But it's basically the same brush, just lasts a bit longer. If this brand is available to you, I recommend this. This is the e.l.f. Flat Top Powder Brush. And you might be thinking, a powder brush? What? Yes, this is amazing for liquid and cream foundation, even powder foundation to buff it into the skin. It's much the same as the other, it's just black and a lot wider, less dense, but it does an amazing job. Now, I don't think Eyes Lips Face are shipping to Ireland anymore or something like that, but I know in the States you can still get them in Target. And you could probably still get them on eBay and some other websites. So if you haven't got one of these, I do recommend them. I think they were like £3 or something, so cheap, and they just give a flawless airbrushed finish to your makeup. If you don't require a full coverage and you have a foundation you want to wear quite sheer, I recommend you use the Real Techniques buffing brush. Looks like this. Again, quite affordable. I don't know if this one can be bought individually. I think this has to come as part of the core collection set, but I think it's about €19 for the set, so still quite affordable, and I do like all of the brushes in that set. But this basically buffs the product into the skin, but it does definitely, in my opinion, take away from the coverage slightly. So if you have a medium to full coverage foundation and you'd like to wear it more sheer, I recommend using this kind of brush to really work that into the skin. Good investment. Next is concealer, and I have a couple of different versions of this. Now, I'm specifically talking about concealer under the eyes because that's the next step I do. Firstly, I apply the concealer under my eyes in a triangle shape, very roughly, and then I blend it in with one of these 2 brushes. This one here is the Real Techniques contour brush. And how I do it is I literally just dab, and I keep dabbing until the concealer is completely blended in. It doesn't sacrifice coverage. It melts the product into the skin. I find it gives just a perfectly flawless finish. And in the exact same way, the Blank Canvas F40 brush does more or less the exact same thing. It's a little less dense, but it gives the exact same effect. and these don't cause any trauma to the delicate under eye area either, so very gentle, highly recommend. For powder, as I previously mentioned, the flat top powder brush from e.l.f. is a good one if you were wanting to pack on the coverage. However, if you prefer a lighter coverage, I recommend the Real Techniques blush brush. Now I know it says blush, but it's bloody huge. Like, look at the size, that's way too big for blush. I use that for powder just to apply it to my shiny areas, and then I buff whatever's left on the brush around my drier areas. Really, really, really good brush. Still gives a little bit of coverage, but doesn't cake up the product on your skin. And last powder brush, this is if you just want a very light veil of powder on your skin. You don't want to look powdery, you don't want to look dry, and you don't particularly need extra coverage. This is the MAC 187 brush. Now this is expensive. I think this is like €55. I bought this literally, I reckon 7 or 8 years ago, and it's still going strong. Another alternative is the Duo Fiber Face Brush from Real Techniques. Quite similar. The MAC one is definitely more gentle, but it does the same thing. It just gives a very light dusting of powder over the skin. When I've powdered the skin, I literally look like Casper. All my skin is one colour and I cannot wait to put some colour back in the skin, so I then bronze and contour. For contouring, I like to use a small brush to get into the hollows of my cheeks like so. This is the MAC 109 brush, and I think this is just absolutely irreplaceable. I use this basically every day. As you can see, it's dirty because I used it today. And I find it just fits into the hollow of the cheekbone perfectly. It also does the side of the nose, underneath the chin, and if you want to contour your forehead, it's amazing for that as well. Expensive but worth it. I believe Blank Canvas and Sigma have alternatives to this brush. I cannot testify as to whether they're good or not, but I do love my MAC one. For bronzing, I don't require as much precision, so I like to use this Sigma F25 brush. It's kind of from a shape on there at the moment. It's a tulip shaped brush, so as you can see it comes to a point at the end, and that works to blend the product for you. Less work, hello, everyone wants that. So what I do is I just dust it in my bronzer, and I'll literally just all over my skin where I want to look a little bit more sun-kissed. And as you can see, I have it on my forehead. I dust a little bit onto my cheeks today over my contour. I do my neck and basically anywhere I want to look a bit more tanned. Amazing, amazing brush. Next thing I apply is blush, and this is my ultimate blush brush, and it's from Sigma, and it's from like the old numbering system, so that'll tell you how old this brush is. This was this SS168. I'm not sure what it's called now. I will leave a link to the Sigma website down below, so if you'd like to purchase any of these brushes, you can click through the link there. It will be an affiliate link, therefore if you use my link to purchase any brushes, I will make a teeny tiny commission. However, you don't get charged any extra. If you prefer not to use my affiliate link, that's perfectly fine. You just go to sigmabeauty.com. So this basically looks like this. Again, it's dirty because I used it today. It's shaped just so ergonomically for the skin. I just use this to buff blush onto the cheeks. It's the perfect shape for the cheeks, and it's shaped in such a way that it blends the product for you. It's quite difficult to go overboard with blush when you use this kind of brush. It's also like a tiny mini handled one, but you can get longer ones too. Next for highlight, and we're back to Sigma again, and this is the F35. It's basically the baby of this big bronzer one. It's just the exact same, but just much smaller. This is the brush for highlight. It's amazing. I just dab it into my highlight and then pop it onto the tops of my cheekbones like so, and so down the nose, Cupid's bow, and it dispenses the perfect amount of product onto the skin, buffs it so that it doesn't look cakey or powdery, and yeah, this is a game changer for sure. Next step in my makeup, I always do my eyebrows, and I start off with grooming them. So I use this brush just to brush through them. This is the number 7 lash and brow brush. I've had this for donkey's years. I don't even know if they still make it, but like any sort of brush like that will do. Even an old mascara wand will do the trick too. So I always brush my brows out just to get any powder or product out of them. And since I've had my eyebrows tattooed on, I don't actually use an eyebrow brush in them, because if I do need to darken them, I use just a pencil very quickly. Otherwise, I just apply brow gel and go. But if I had to recommend an eyebrow brush, it would definitely be the Sephora number 15 brush. It's just so fine and it doesn't splay. It's made of synthetic fibres and it just gives a lovely crisp line. So getting a lovely crisp shape to your eyebrows is very easy with this brush. As I said, I don't use it anymore because they've been tattooed on, but when they fade back, I will start to use this again because it's my holy grail brow brush. These brushes are brushes that can do everything for the eye. If you have 2 of these brushes, you can basically do any eye look. These are kind of hybrids between the flat brush and the blending brush. They look like this. You've seen them hundreds of times before, I would imagine. They are flat on that side and then skinny on that side. This one here is from Sigma and it's the E25, and this one here is from Delium Tools and it's the 776. They're basically the exact same as each other. I have literally so many of these brushes because they're just so handy to have. You can use the flat side of the brush to apply colour to the lid. You can use the tip of the brush to blend into the crease. Again, you can diffuse colour with it if it looks very harsh. You can use this to go under your eyes. In fact, if I'm putting colour underneath my eyes like I have today, I do use the tip of one of these. I find it just so much easier to apply the colour and it blends as well at the same time. These are the most multi-purpose brushes, and I recommend buying not just one but two of these because you'll take on the world with these brushes. When it comes to applying eyeliner, I either want actual eyeliner like a crisp black line, or I want to diffuse some eyeshadow along my upper lash line so it looks smudgy and smoky. For the smokier look, I like the Real Techniques brow brush. Now I know it says brow, but I use it for smudging eyeshadow along my top. So what I'll do is I'll dip this into some dark eyeshadow and I'll just pat it along my upper lash line and then just blend it very, very slightly so it gives me a much smokier look. And if I require a crisper line using liquid or gel eyeliner, I really like this and it's really cheap. It's the Essence brush, doesn't have a name. It just looks like this. It's quite similar to the Sephora brush I showed earlier. In fact, it actually does pretty much the same job, but this is really nice for eyeliner, but you can only use it once with a gel eyeliner. After that, it goes really crispy and you have to wash it, but it gives a really nice crisp line on the outside and it goes really, really well onto the inner corner. I like it. I'm such an idiot. I totally forgot to mention what tools I'd purchase. Eyelash curlers are an absolute must for me because my eyelashes basically point down. I really like the Tweezerman ones. I've tried the Shu Uemura ones and I've tried the number 7 ones, I've tried the e.l.f. ones, and these are the best. They're about €20 and I would repurchase these over all of the others. And for sponges, while I really like the Real Techniques sponge, I've recently started using the Beauty Blender and I love it. If you haven't access to this or can't afford this, the Real Techniques one is really nice, but this one, there's no comparison. I love it. As you can see, it's filthy. It just it makes every foundation better in my opinion. Absolutely love this and I will always repurchase. For lips, I don't use a brush ever. So those are all my brush picks. Let me know if you like this video by hitting the thumbs up button. It really helps me out. Thank you so much for watching and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye!